What's up, everybody? Bandit Chad here for another Taco Tuesday. And if you've been keeping up with any sort of automotive news or tuning into Motor Trend or Car and Driver or anything like that online, you may have seen a lot of new trucks circulating the internet, both in test mule form and in actual releases. And today we're going to talk about a couple of those. So the first and probably the most popular one that's going around right now is the 2019 Silverado.
Right, so the 2019 Silverado, Chevy did reveal that early. We were expecting it to be coming next month at the Detroit Auto Show. And they didn't show like a full lineup or anything like that. They showed a new it's a new trim, right?
Correct.
A Trail Boss. So I didn't watch the reveal or anything. I've only really seen pictures and read a few articles online, and it just kind of seems like just a really beefy version of a Silverado. I believe there's a lift, some beefier tires and stuff on there. And it definitely showed this wild new Silverado that I guess weren't, well, we could see in some test mules that they've had that it was something different, but it definitely surprised us.
Right, and so what Chevrolet was trying to do is, this is actually the 100th year of the Chevy truck, and they did this whole big reveal down at the Texas Motor Speedway, and they actually flew this truck in on a helicopter and dropped it off, and then they brought it around and everything. But essentially what this new Trail Boss is basically the baddest off-road Silverado that there is. So it does have Duratrac tires, and they're saying it's basically loosely based off of the Z71 trim, but it does have an additional 2-inch lift. So you should have the locker and everything else that you would get from the Z71, but with a little bit larger lift. So we're expecting still Rancho suspension on this new Silverado. We haven't seen anything different, but it does kind of mark a design change for Chevrolet as well. So what a lot of automotive journalists and people in the automotive news game have been saying is it kind of looks like a combination of a lot of different trucks that are currently on the market. They ditched the square wheel wells that has always been a Chevy trademark, and they also got rid of a lot of the square grille and headlights and a lot of everything else, and it really looks a lot different. It doesn't necessarily look like a new Silverado. The front end actually has, if it was a Ford, they would call it a C-clamp headlight design. However, with the Ford, how the C's are facing towards the grille, the new Silverado, they're facing the opposite way.
It just looks kind of wild.
Yeah, it definitely is a radically designed, completely different looking vehicle that we've ever seen from Chevrolet. And also with the sides of the truck, it does have a lot more swoopy lines, a lot less squared off and hard edges, like we did see with the current 2017, 2018 Silverado. Now again, this is not coming out until 2019, and they're saying that in 2019, when this truck joins the rest of the lineup, it should help to have a little bit more family resemblance. It should look a lot more like the rest of the Chevrolet lineup. Now, personally, I still don't think it looks a whole lot like a Chevrolet truck, and I think they kind of missed the mark there. But again, this is just the Trail Boss trim, and it may look different when we actually see production trims of, more standard trim levels. This is, like I said, the most off-road worthy, the biggest, baddest truck that Chevrolet is making, at least as of now, and probably the more general trims like the LT, I'm sure the High Country and those sort of things will carry over, and I would expect to see a lot more chrome on those, and possibly even some more body color. Basically everything on this truck is blacked out, and then there across the back you can see that it does have twin dual exhaust, and the Chevrolet lettering stamped in the tailgate, which is something we haven't seen from Chevrolet, at least yet.
So here recently there have been more spy shots of the Ram, still in a camouflage of sorts. We haven't seen any colors or anything like that other than just the camouflage cladding that they do have. We've seen some different headlight designs on there, but that is another truck that we are expecting to make a debut in Detroit next month.
Right, and some other vehicles that we've seen actually from Ford is we're seeing more and more of the new Ranger and possibly what is going to be the new Bronco. Now, it still remains to be seen what the new Bronco is actually going to be like. I've heard several different ideas that are circulating around. I highly, highly doubt that it is going to be a Jeep Wrangler competitor, even though I think basically every Ford and automotive and off-road enthusiast would love to see it. But I really don't think that's where Ford would sell the most units. I think, personally, if Ford was trying to sell the most units, they would take what is their best-selling vehicle and what's the nation's best-selling vehicle, which is the F-150, and turn that into a little bit smaller wheelbase, but essentially make it an F-150 but with an SUV on top of it, instead of the truck cab and then the bed. So that's what I would expect to see. We still haven't seen a whole lot of that, and a lot of that remains to be seen, so that all is speculation, but that should be coming out here in Detroit as well. And also the new Raptor has been seen yet again, or sorry, the new Ranger has been seen yet again. So we've seen what they're calling the Ranger Raptor. We've seen more basic looking trims. We've seen several different test mules of this new Ranger. But it definitely looks like it's on its way, and again, that should be coming out in Detroit as well. But it definitely looks like the most recent one that we've seen testing is an FX4. It does seem to sit a little bit higher. It doesn't have quite all of the same bulges and aggressive look that the Ranger Raptor does have, but it does look to be a little bit more capable, and that should be competing with the likes of the TRD Off-Road Tacoma and the Z71 Colorado and vehicles like that. But hopefully that'll be joining the competition here before too long, and we'll see more of that as well.
So here recently we have seen reports of Toyota partnering up with Panasonic. Now you may know them for manufacturing TVs or being involved with computers, but more so we're focusing here on the batteries. So Toyota is partnering with them to build kind of like a battery factory. Now we didn't see if this was for hybrid technology or just batteries in general, but we're kind of thinking it's going to be chipping away at Tesla's battery game. We're not exactly sure where Toyota and Panasonic are going to be going with this, so it's been remained to be seen. We haven't seen if it's going to be built in the US or Japan or anywhere else in the world. We just know that it seems like they're partnering up and they're going to be building something somewhere. But kind of alluding to Toyota factories, Toyota did just recently build their 1 millionth Corolla. Now, was that in their Mississippi plant?
Correct.
Okay.
That's in Blue Springs, Mississippi. Okay. And actually at the Mississippi plant, that is, they only produce the Corolla there. And that factory opened, it says here, in November 17th of 2011, and they've already hit 1 million vehicles. So it says that their capacity is around 170,000 units per year, which is really astounding. I mean, that is a lot of vehicles to be moving out of that plant. And, you know, great job to all the men and women down there building those vehicles. You know, that is a huge movement there, and, you know, only in really 6 years, that's a lot of units to move in 6 years.
That's a lot of units, and I mean, I can't really do the 170,000 times 6. I can't do that in my head, but like, I guess that's pretty close to 1 million that they've produced. But
right, yeah, they did just recently, within the past couple weeks, hit 1 million, and I mean, they probably weren't running at full capacity the whole time. But
probably not. No.
Another great thing about that is we haven't really heard a lot of problems that have been going on with the Corolla. So to produce 1 million units more or less trouble-free, that's really great.
Right.
Also, some more news here coming from Jeep. Jeep actually filed some new patents in China this week in a leaked document that came out, and we're getting some hints at what some new names might be. Now, again, this was filed in China, not necessarily the United States, so we're not sure if we'll get all these names. But a couple that leaked out here, the first one was the Desert Hawk, which we actually already get the Desert Hawk, it sounds like, at least for the Renegade and possibly some other vehicles, as a trim option. You know, it's just one of the many trims that Jeep is trying to push there. But some of the other ones that came out were the Portal, which we actually saw a Jeep Portal concept a few years ago, which was just a small electric city car. And another one was the Grand Commander. Now, we were expecting the Wagoneer to come out, and they actually had a couple like kind of CAD drawings about this. But we were expecting that to be called the Grand Wagoneer, or just the Wagoneer, not necessarily the Grand Commander. So again, we're not really sure if this name will make it to the United States. We've never had a Grand Commander before. Obviously, we've had the Grand Cherokee, the Grand Wagoneer, and a Commander, but never those two words combined. And the final one is the Jeep Hyperspace. Now, I have no idea what the Jeep Hyperspace is, and I couldn't even tell you what that might be. So
they're going to make some hovercraft.
Yeah, it is definitely hard to say. So if you have any idea what the Jeep Hyperspace might be, do put that in the comments below. So one more thing before you go, if you have made it to this point in the video, we do really appreciate all of the support, and we do really look towards the future to continue growing the channel and providing great content that everyone can enjoy and find useful. So one thing that we've been bouncing around between Chad and myself is we might do a little bit of a rebranding. Now, the Taco Bandit channel and brand has been very, it's been good. You know, it's been a great project. It's been really good to us, and we hope that we've helped out a lot of people as of right now. But we realize that having Taco, meaning Tacoma, in our name, it does kind of pigeonhole us into only doing Tacoma videos. We do have access to a lot of other vehicles, and we do really want to grow the channel, and to do that, I think we're going to have to branch out just a little bit more. So the channel overall will be more or less based on Tacomas and Toyotas in general, since we do both have third gens and we have that Land Cruiser to mess with a little bit. But we do want to branch out a little bit, so we'd be interested in hearing your all's thoughts on that, and we would really love to hear your opinion. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It really does mean a lot, and follow us on Instagram. We are trying to grow both of those as well. So also, if you do have any thoughts, please leave those either in the comments of one of our pictures, one of our videos, or direct message us either on Instagram or on YouTube. We do try to stay up to date on all of that as well. So please let us know what you think. It's not going to be a radical change what we're thinking of, but we are interested in your all's input. So thank you all very much for watching again, and have a great week, everybody.
See you guys.